So I think we're all here. So just taking a moment to feel the energy of this room, the energy of sangha. I was thinking about how I had the honor of giving the first Dharma talk here. All the teachers were, the other teachers, John Travis was teaching a retreat, and just it was wonderful, and it was kind of overwhelming because this was this new beautiful space, and to see how this community has grown, has transformed, has come to be what it is today is just lovely. It's really wonderful. So let's meditate for a while, and just finding your body's best position to be able to stay alert and aware, and at the same time to relax and rest in awareness, rest in being, rest in sangha, rest in the Dharma, rest in the Buddha. And just to remember that the arriving is a special part of the meditation. So in this first couple of minutes, we can feel the energy that we brought into the room. We can feel that energy and mood, climate of the mind, in the mind and in the body. We can do that by taking like 3, maybe long, deep breaths. Breathing in alertness and awakeness, and then letting go and breathing out any tension or distraction. So the invitation is to feel whatever arises, whether it's the body, emotions, the mind, thoughts, but to navigate that awareness in a state of relaxation and non-clinging. to sit quietly in the middle of the 10,000 things that come and go with awareness and non-judgment, without grabbing on to any of it. Just peaceful presence with all of it. And in the last few minutes of this meditation, you may want to broaden your awareness and your attention out into the space around you and the room you're in. The sounds, the feeling of the air touching your skin. Using perhaps your imagination and your awareness to broaden the attention out beyond, into the spaces beyond this place, out into the world of all the 10,000 things, out into the world of all the beings that are sharing the earth and the breath with you, the rhythm of the breathing of the earth, just feeling that interconnection and resting in that. So let's take a couple of minutes to just stretch our bodies and and then we'll talk. So what I want to talk about tonight is this idea of willingness. I see people in this room and online who've been practicing as long or longer than I have, 30 some odd years, 40 years. And new practitioners and people who've been practicing less and have had some wonderful experiences of freedom. I mean, we have experiences of kind of freedom and letting go just come to us sometimes in our life, in our childhood, different times. So we kind of know what's possible, and we kind of know how that feels, that wonderful freedom, and yet we persist. Come on in. So the fact that we can and touch into freedom, that we know, and we've maybe learned some ways in which we breathe, know that when we sit long enough, finally things fall away, and we just arrive at that opening. And yet, the habits persist, and something holds us back. And what is that? I just think that's so interesting. What holds us back? A big part of it, I think, is that we have known from the time we were pretty young, or had this idea of who we are and who we're supposed to be in the world, and what we need to do to get there. But that's not necessarily the true path to freedom. But it's what we know, and it's what we do, and it's how we develop, how we keep our relationship with, at least it seems, with family and friends, and the community knows us, and everyone expects us to be whatever they expect us to be, or we think it. Maybe it isn't even true half the time. I remember once being in a kind of a training situation, and we broke up into little groups, and in these little groups, like 2 or 3 people of three or four people, we each told the other person, the other one person at a time, who we thought they were, or what we experienced from them. And I remember myself and others being surprised. Really? I didn't know that. And so a lot of this we carry around in our own heads about what people are seeing or wanting or needing or what we want or need. So there's this, and that's what we kind of call the self, right? That's me. And we're afraid of losing me because then who are we? Then what do we know? Then who's going to be with us? Then what will our friends say? So there's this wanting, and that wanting, that longing is there whether we're Buddhist or anything. And most people use different ways to seek to satisfy that longing. And obviously a lot of the ways that we satisfy the longing may be kind of quick fixes, but they don't last and they have consequences. So there's just this fear of the loss of everything you know, or I know, that kind of holds us back. And then there's the fear of the unknown that can come up. This is Joseph Campbell. He said, "You must give up the life you planned in order to have the life that is waiting for you." And so all that planning down the tubes, it's a quandary. So how are we going to cope if we let go? And my sense is that we get better at this. We can get better at this, the practice and our meditation and our mindfulness. And I'll talk about how some of the ways that works. But it's a powerful force, this sense of this person that I am supposed to be. And whether it's a great person or a person that's flawed, most of us feel like for some reason we're flawed and we don't belong. There's something I was reading a month or two ago, was talking about this idea that if you were to compress the sense of who you are down to 3 or 4 words, what would you come up with? And I've done a little practice on this myself and then with a few other people. And I don't want to bias you if you want to try this, but mostly there's something wrong with us. We don't belong, or we're awkward, or we're deeply flawed, or we're can't be satisfied. Anyway, we have these notions, and that's pretty interesting to try that and see how that fits with your life, how you react in the world based on those ideas about ourselves that aren't true. We're all flawed, of course. None of us are perfect, but it's not the important thing. The important thing is this essence of who we are, and that's there, and to some extent it's there for other people, and to some extent it's there for us. But these counter negative critical perceptions of ourselves get in the way. And they get in the way of being willing to sort of take the plunge into freedom. So what facilitates this moving and inclining towards the beneficial, this change? Well, awareness and mindfulness are kind of, and meditation, are very, very strong indicators, because if we're willing to not be deflected, not to be afraid, to sit and see what's there and experience what's there and find out that what it is and how it feels, and that it doesn't kill us, it doesn't hurt us at that moment, although it may be painful to experience it for a little while. So that's one way, that's one big piece of it, is awareness and mindfulness and interest. Who am I? That inquiry that never really has an answer, but gives us some indications. And then another thing is, and a really important thing, is intention. You know, what is your intention? That's another key to who you are and what you are in the world. And the little intentions of what's my intention for this day, for this encounter with some part of the day or some person, but also what's my intention in this life. And I'll get back to that a bit at the end of this talk, but and then there's determination, you know. So when these impulses to judge ourselves, these impulses not to do the work of practice of mindfulness and presence, the determination makes a big difference if we really want this. And then there's choice. Choice is such an important and critical piece in our life. Just remember, and remember this always, that you always have choice. It makes all the difference in the world, because you have choice about what you do with what's happening in this moment. You can be with it, you can open, you can relax. Even if you feel yourself tense and you're far down the road of your conditioned anxiety or whatever, you have a choice to stop, to pause, to breathe and notice, oh, here's this come to call, and to just sit here. I've had this, just to reveal, I've had this week of all kinds of things going on in my life. Last couple of weeks my son was visiting, and so all these family members were coming and going, and events were happening around this visit, and Mother's Day and this and that. Not things that I normally would be really involved in too much, but here it was, and I was involved. And at the same time, they were painting our house. They're still painting our house. And painters were climbing up the walls and looking in the windows, and the whole house got all the windows got plasticed over so they could paint. So I felt it was like there was no seeing any, and we have several doors to the house. There was only like one door I could get in and out of, and so it's abating. The family my son's gone home. The family's back to their place. The painters are still there, but they're getting done. So when I sat down to meditate this morning, it was like, ooh, that was all there, just, and it was like, not all that was there, and then all the things that I hadn't been able to do that I still needed to do, and so on and so forth. And it took everything I could to just say, I'm just going to sit here with this until I can settle into the middle of it and see it for what it is. And I did, sort of, but I finally got settled. But it's strong. Those urges are strong. So it takes, and I had to make a choice, And sometimes I make the choice, I can't do this. I got to get up and do something else. But most of the time, and more, I long for the choice to sit and let this all subside, and just to abide in that ease of breathing. So you can notice, as I did this morning, the array of choices that might come up in any minute. I could do this, I could do that. All of that comes up, and so the thing that's important in that time when you see all this array of choices is the choice that I have is, where do I put my attention? Do I put my attention on what I'm not doing? Do I put my attention on the pain in my foot or my back? Do I put the attention on just this space of being? And it's a different thing all the time. But realizing I have a choice where I put my attention, and honoring that doing that. So, and part of that then is the willingness to pause. Am I willing to stop no matter what, and pause and see what's at, especially when we start to feel chaotic, or we're doing something and we're rushing. Just saying, not now, pause to make a choice. And then just remembering that, we don't want to be in pain. We don't want to be in discomfort, and we want to avoid pain, and we want to seek pleasure. And that is a built-in. And pleasure isn't always immediately available for us. So willingness to understand that's what's happening, and willingness to have the discernment to make a choice to just relax with what is another way of looking at the same thing. So the willingness to open, to be flexible, non-judgmental, friendly, and compassionate with whatever arises in our moment-to-moment life. Flexible, non-judgmental, friendly, and compassionate. It's not always easy. So there's this kind of, this essence of who we actually are has a kind of purity, it has a kind of innocence. I talk all the time now about my little great-grandchildren because they're such little teachers. They're toddlers, and they have some conditioning already, but they also have this will to be, just to dance or yell or play or say no. And adults get kind of offended when the little one says no thanks. Doesn't say, they don't say thanks. It's too much. They say, no, I don't want that. And they're testing their boundaries. And we've all done that. We've all had our time to do that. And now we have a time to look at those choices and to say, we can make other choices now. We know more. our experience has taught us more. It's like the Rumi's guest house. Everything is going to come, and they come for a reason. All the emotions, all the feelings. And they're there for us to see them, to experience them, and they're just guests. They're going. They're leaving as soon as we've welcomed them. So meditation and mindfulness and compassion bring you into the stillness in which your innocence is most unguarded, your vulnerability is most unguarded and available. So this is a poem by Anton de Saint-Exupéry. If you want to build a ship, don't herd people together to collect wood, and don't assign them tasks and work, but rather teach them to long for the immensity, the endless immensity of the sea. If you want to build a ship, don't herd people together to collect wood, and don't assign them tasks and work, but rather teach them to long for the endless immensity of the sea. Or this is Denis Levertov. Sometimes the mountain is hidden from me in veils of cloud. Sometimes I am hidden from the mountain in veils of inattention, apathy, and fatigue. When I forget or refuse to go down to the shore, or a few yards up the road on a clear day to reconfirm that witnessing presence. So there's the struggle. We get busy and we forget. We forget to walk down the road. We forget to look out at the mountains. We get stuck in a house that's got all plastic on the windows and we can't look out. But we always have choice. So there's a door out. So this is a kind of another way to look at it. This is a piece by Sojal Rinpoche, and it's called, it's from a piece he wrote called Glimpse of the Day. Imagine that you had gone all your life without ever washing, and then one day you decide to take a shower. You start scrubbing away, but then watch in horror as the dirt begins to ooze out of the pores of your skin and stream down your body. Something must be wrong. You were supposed to be getting cleaner, and all you see is grime. You panic and you fling yourself out of the shower, convinced that you should never have begun this. But you only end up even more dirty than before. You have no way of knowing that the wisest thing to do is to be patient and to finish the shower. It may look for a while as though you're getting even dirtier. But if you keep on washing, you will emerge fresh and clean. It's all a process, the process of purification. Whenever doubt arises, see it simply as an obstacle. Recognize it as an understanding that is calling out to be clarified or unblocked, and know that it's not a fundamental problem, but simply a stage in the process of purification and learning. Allow the process to continue and complete itself, and never lose your trust or resolve. This is the way followed by all the great practitioners of the past who used to say, "There is no armor like perseverance." Again and again we need to appreciate the subtle workings of the teachings and the practice. And even when there's no extraordinary, dramatic change, to persevere with calm and patience. How important it is to be skillful and gentle with ourselves without becoming disheartened or giving up, but trusting the spiritual path and knowing that it has its own laws and its own dynamics. So, another, maybe a little bit deeper part of this, although this is pretty deep, is that we need to think about what we value in this world, and to notice that we have these capacities. We have the capacity to persevere and experience all of these things. We have the capacity to imagine all kinds of possibilities based on the experience that you have. We have the ability to know that something is pleasant or unpleasant. We can feel all these things. You ever have these experience of feeling several emotions, very strong emotions at the same time, where you feel maybe sorrow and joy, maybe a sense of this kind of bitter, sweet, deep understanding of perhaps loss, and yet a feeling of opening that comes with it. It's another thing. It's something interesting to explore in yourself or in other people. Someone in my family who's going through a loss, end of a relationship, and with a lot of courage, feeling the grief, and at the same time feeling the opening to something new in his life. So with practice you can choose which of these capacities that you have, then you can utilize them in any circumstance. You can plan a response to anything that arises inside you from outside. So we develop these capacities, and we know what our values are. What is it that matters most to you? And really to get to the heart of that makes a huge difference in how you make a choice. You can always check in with that. Check in with, does this action or reaction fit with my value, my intention in life, how I want to, what I feel I need to do to be whole in this life. So this is Nina Wise. She's if you've ever read or heard or seen her, she's a Buddhist, and she's a comedian, and she's a storyteller, and she's quite wonderful. But she's talking about freedom. She says freedom is about the willingness to feel deeply. The willingness to feel deeply. Freedom is about the willingness to fall apart. Freedom is about holding on to nothing. And at the heart of that letting go, that disillusion, you surrender. You discover something sublime and unspeakably, heartbreakingly raw. Call it love, call it compassion, call it kindness, call it redemption. So I'm going to read a poem and then we'll open it up for discussion and sharing. This is by someone named John Moffat. To look at anything, if you would know that thing, you must look at it long. To look at this green and say, I have seen spring in these woods, will not do. You must be the thing you see. To look at the green and say, I have seen spring in these woods, will not do. You must be the thing you see. You must be the dark snakes of stems and fairy plumes of leaves. You must enter in the small silences between the leaves. You must take your time and touch the very peace they arise from. So, what do you think? What do you think about willingness? Yes.
This is Jen. I'm just going to let people know on Zoom that if they'd like to say something, they can raise a virtual hand and we'll recognize them. And then anybody in here, if you'd like to make a comment or ask a question, do raise a hand and we'll pass the microphone so that the people on Zoom can hear what we're saying within this room. Thank you. Okay, passing the mic in the hall. You start with your name.
Hi, Maeve.
Hi.
This is Douglas here. Many of the things that you spoke of this evening kind of touched what I've been, looking deeper within myself, this kind of like a attachment to selfing, to describing and wanting to somehow manufacture a sense of, permanence or identification or identity, an identity that seems to cause me a lot of stress. At the same time, it seems difficult to kind of let go of that identity. And towards the end, you were talking about how holding on to nothing.
Yeah.
And how this identity that, we'd all like to kind of think that there's something real about us, that there's some, entity here that has some sort of permanence and worth. And yet it's like holding on to nothing. The things that I use to describe myself generally have no real substance.
Yes, that's true. And at the same time, nothing, it's everything and nothing. One of the things about this is the constructed world that we live in. That's all the concepts, that's all the conditions, that's all the kind of false reality of who we are. But I think we do have an essence, and we do have an essence that's you can't talk about. You can't put your hand on it. You can't hold it. You know, it's like holding water or air. You can't grasp it. So it requires a kind of faith. That yeah, you have a presence. You belong here. You're part of this, and you have a particular part. And but it's letting go of this constructed identity. That's what gets in the way. So like I say, when some other people see all of us, they see something that we don't really have a good touch of in our own self-awareness often.
Yeah, it could be looked at, I suppose, just formulating while you're sharing with me, that holding on to nothing can also be, emptiness.
Yeah.
And emptiness isn't necessarily nothingness.
No, it's not nothingness. So, and the other way to look at it is, not another way, not the other way, is that this is all energy, and we're all part of the flow of energy. And it flows through you and me and everything. It's kind of the flavor of the composition. So
the interconnectedness.
Yeah. So the other reason you can't grab it on is it's not static. It's not solid, but it exists.
Thank you for your teachings tonight.
Great. Okay.
Well,
yeah. Another comment from the hall? Thank you.
Hey, Maeve, it's Robert. Let's see, thanks for the deep dive into willingness. And thinking it through in my mind, the word desire came up. Like I'm longing for, I think you said the word longing for and desire, which confused me a little bit because I kind of go towards grasping. Like if there's a will, there's a way, and I want to get to this, the longingness for the open seas, that kind of thing.
yeah.
So could you just talk a little bit about the difference between like
Desire.
willingness and like
And
basically
desire.
grasping?
Yeah. That's a good question. I think when I think of it, desire is a drive. If I desire something, it has a drive to it, and willingness is an allowing. It's an opening. Willingness happens in the present. It doesn't, and you may have an intention, that you want to be free, or you want to be at peace, or you want to feel connected or belonging. But the willingness is to just be with what is. So it's kind of this opening, no matter, and without conditions to what is. Desire has an object, and so the desire to be free, for example, the desire to experience freedom, it does give some energy, but it also can be kind of striving, and when we strive, and when we conceptualize what it is exactly we're desiring, it kind of takes us out of the present. Does that make any sense?
It does a lot. Thank you.
Okay.
Another comment in the hall?
Hi, Maeve.
Hi.
I'm Chuck.
Hi, Chuck.
Thank you for your sharing your thoughts and your wisdom, your experience. During your talk, there are a couple of things that occurred to me that have been happening in my life. In willingness, I find two concepts that are really important right now: trust and choice. And you touched on choice. And the reason those all fall for me in the paradigm of willingness is I see signs presented to me that I trust that the universe is showing me things that will take me in a direction that's positive. I trust that. And I'm trusting it much more. And I think that has a lot to do with letting go of self and trusting that those signs will lead me in a certain direction. Now I have a choice. I can go with that trust and follow those signs or not. So I find in my life these days it's exciting, you know.
Yeah.
And it didn't used to be like that. Yeah. So that I'm seeing this now is it's really good.
Yeah, that's a great addition. That's very important, I think. Yeah, and it takes a lot of courage. You know, I mean, it takes courage to let yourself see that and trust it, and it gets confirmed, right? And so then that trust is a kind of confidence that that you, as long as you're willing to look and see the signs, or take the step and trust what, because inside of you, you know, in all of us, the truth abides, and as long as we're willing to listen to it and take the time and see it, that, yeah, it's a state of grace that we're moving into. Thank you. Anyone online there want to say anything?
Okay, another comment in the hall?
Hi, Maeve. I'm Gary. Would you just give us a few words about the very last word in your lesson, redemption?
Redemption. Yeah, well, that's an interesting word, and at the end of that poem, or the end of that saying is, what do you think it means? You haven't got a clue?
No, I don't think I could say. That it just left me with, well, exactly how does that play into this? What does that mean?
Well, I'm not sure what that meant in that poem, but we carry in this heavy weight around with us all our lives. All of us have it. It's like this, you know, like you see a little first grader with this big backpack on. It's like we have those, and they grow bigger sometimes over a lifetime. All the things that we feel wrong about, or that we've done wrong, or that we wish we'd done different, or that, you know, and they overwhelm us. They weigh us down. They're obstacles. They're huge obstacles to freedom. And so the trust in presence and the experience of presence, which cuts right through all that, and when we can abide, calm abiding in just what is right this moment, it begins to dissolve the burden of these things that we carry around and weigh us down. And you know, the older we get, it's kind of two things happen, I think. We get, obviously the burden, the burden we carry has gotten big as it can get, practically. And we have an opportunity, we have a choice, because we have more freedom just by virtue of the fact that we've lost the capacity to do all the things that we have to do, you know, work and make money and raise kids and all that stuff. So as we age, there is an opportunity to say enough. Enough is enough, and let go of that, and see what's there. And as we were saying just now, to trust that there's something to replace that's lighter.
I get that. Thank you.
So any other comments?
Okay. Comment in the back.
Thank you for coming, Maeve. My name's Peter, and thank you for bringing up perfection. Suzuki Roshi said, "You're perfect just the way you are. You just need a little work."
I like that.
So you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay, one last chance here. Anybody? Okay, let's do a little metta. So, taking a comfortable, balanced position again, just relaxing into this moment in time, inviting calm abiding into the heart. Taking a couple of deep breaths. And starting with wishes to ourselves. Just sending wishes to ourselves that we may live with open minds and open hearts. And that whatever blocks or covers our minds or our hearts, whatever is weighing us down, may be removed, dissolved, so that we may experience through open-heartedness and open-mindedness true happiness. May we feel healthy and strong as we can in our minds and in our bodies. May we have ease and peace in our lives and the things we need. May we be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. And may we awaken and be freed from suffering. And we want to send metta and love to those that we know and love that have departed, and those who are grieving those who have departed, like Jen's mother Joy, who's gone, spreading her joy in whatever way happens when we transition out of this life. We all have people in our lives, and maybe ourselves, where we're dealing with loss and change. So we send that compassionate, loving metta to all these beings. and to our friends and our families and our neighbors and our community, to the creatures that share the earth and the air and the water with us, to all the living beings on this earth, we send metta that we may all live with open hearts and open minds, that we may all have the things we need and feel as strong as we can and trusting as we can, that we may be safe and protected from inner and outer harm, that all the beings on this earth may awaken and be free from suffering. And then we send these wishes out into the universe and beyond, to all beings everywhere, those that are known and unknown, seen and unseen, born and to be born. May all beings everywhere be happy, be at peace, and be free. And if there's any benefit we've accrued through our practice here this evening, may we dedicate that benefit to the well-being and awakening of all beings everywhere.
Maeve, thank you so much. If you're online, please feel free to unmute and say goodnight, and the rest of us can wave and stomp our feet. Thanks, Maeve.